Hi, everybody. Welcome to the third episode in the CI/CD Power BI with Azure DevOps and Microsoft Fabric. I am Manuel Mas, Principal Consultant and Data Architect at ClearPix. My specialty is architecting Microsoft Azure solution. Today, the contents, okay, we are going to introduce this third episode. We are going to explain the enterprise deployment using Azure Pipelines, the toolkit that we need to set it up, high-level overview with the workflow that we are going to demo in the next point. And we will finish with some wrap-up and conclusions. Regarding to this third episode, okay, one of the main DevOps principles is the elimination of manual steps during deployment. Fully automated deployments are more robust because they avoid a potential human error. They can also run more frequently, thereby allowing them to receive early insights into potential infrastructure problems. A process that runs often and is automated puts all involved stakeholders at ease and allows engineers to focus on tackling important business problems instead of cumbersome and mundane manual tasks. In episode 1, we experienced a real collaboration between developers in a Power BI project involving semantic models and reports. We saw that the PBIP and now the new PBI are file formats significantly simplify change tracking and merge conflict resolution by utilizing well-structured JSON and organizing each visual, page, bookmark, and more into separate individual files within a folder structure. In episode 2, we leverage a service that performs integration of changes and automated testing. We validated the semantic model quality. This is the metadata to ensure it had the quality we need to ensure this quality is delivered. And at the same time, we validated some metrics. We automated this validation of metrics. Instead of being a manual work, we automatize this phase. And finally, in this third episode, we are going to show you how to automate the deployments after the phases that we saw in the episode 2. So today, we are going to show you how to develop a release pipeline. Okay, this is what we call the continuous delivery. In episode 1 and 2, we saw how to the continuous integration. And today we are going to focus on the continuous delivery. These pipelines frequently and automatically integrate changes and streamline content publishing. We are going to present the role of a release manager, so you will understand the concept of working with approvals in Azure DevOps. Regarding to the enterprise deployment, as you know, as I have explained, we are going to use the Azure Pipelines. Okay, so Azure Pipelines basically is an Azure DevOps service that automates the deployment of content by using a series of customized programmatic steps. So for these deployments, we are going to use Azure Pipelines for deployments. Azure Pipelines is an Azure DevOps service that automates the deployment of content by using a series of customized programmatic steps. And for this deployment, we are going to use release pipelines. In enterprise scenarios, we can automate content publication with Azure DevOps and the Power BI REST APIs in these 3 different ways. Okay? We will use the deployment pipelines Fabric REST APIs to integrate Fabric into our organization automation process. Basically, it is the simplest way to explain the whole process lifecycle. Deployment pipelines were introduced in Power BI Premium to manage deployment targets and promotion from dev to other workspace environment for testing, quality assurance, and production. The thing is that there are some scenarios that require you to manage the deployments to different stages in which you created your deployment pipeline outside the Microsoft Fabric environment. For example, the approvals. That is why we are going to use the deployment pipelines Fabric REST APIs. These pipelines can also be called continuous integration and deployment, or CI/CD pipelines. Why use the REST APIs? There are lots of use cases. These are some of them. We're going to integrate the Fabric content into familiar DevOps tools such as Azure DevOps. Even we have the option to use GitHub Actions. We can schedule the pipeline deployments, automate the deploy multiple pipelines at the same time, cascade depends, approvals, and it's also a simple way of deployment without complex coding, as you will see in the demo. Regarding to the toolkit, we are going to the data platform. It is going to be Microsoft Fabric. Okay, we need a Fabric capacity or Power BI Premium license. It's a kind of enterprise architecture. Okay, your enterprise platform. Azure DevOps, we need a basic plan license. This is only needed to create the Azure pipelines. Visual Studio Code, I will show you how to manage the repository and the content. We need to configure a service principal to work on the workspace. This service principal is used by the Azure DevOps pipeline to authenticate the Power BI service. And this account will also need at least contributor permission on the workspace that we are deploying to. And we will need the Fabric PowerShell scripts that Microsoft has made publicly available at their website. Let's review the workflow. The starting point will be the episode 2 content. Okay? My mate, Miguel, developed a build pipeline where he defined some dataset rules for checking the data quality of the semantic model and some report rules also to validate the structure of the content. At the same time, he also demoed how to validate the DAX measures, okay, with running some DAX code automatically and passing some validation tests. In this episode, we are going to focus on the release pipeline. Okay, we are going to build a release pipeline from scratch. We will have the release manager role that this person will approve or not the deployment content to production. And we will see how the deployment goes from development to test and finally to production, doing this previously, approving this pass to production. Okay, this is not possible to accomplish using the deployment pipelines. So that is why this is one reason we are using also Azure DevOps, okay, and Azure Pipeline. So let's go hands-on lab. Let's begin the demo. So we are going to begin in Fabric. This is the workspace where we have our semantic model. We are going to promote this content. This content has been previously validated by the previous releases pipelines. The content is ready to be deployed to the next environments. One thing that we need to configure here are the deployment pipelines. This is what we were talking about, the deployment pipelines, and we need to configure them. These content pipelines are a feature to deploy content, manually deploy content between stages. Okay, so we have defined a 3 level. We need to define where is our development environment. We are going to put this workspace. We are going to define the test environment. Okay, this is the workspace. We are going to put all the content to test. And finally, this is the production environment. Okay, we are going to assign the workspace. We are going to assign the workspace. We are going to assign the workspace. And now this feature of Power BI is checking how different are the different workspaces. And as we can see, the development environment is different to the test environment, but the test and the production, as they are empty, they are the same. Okay. So here is the content that is ready to deploy. Let's go to our repository in Azure DevOps. As you can see here, we have the content with our repository set up, and we have put here, we have created an script folders, and we have put here the deployment PowerShell script to deploy this content. This script, you can find this script, as I have told you before, is publicly available at the Microsoft site. Okay. In the automate deployment pipelines for Fabric, you can find the links where these PowerShell scripts are available. Okay. We are using these PowerShell scripts because they are easy to use and easy to demo this lifecycle. Okay. So you have all the documentation here. They explain you how to, more or less, how to use them, but it is not explained on how to integrate this in Azure DevOps. Okay? So that is an important thing that we are going to demo today. Okay, so here is the script, how to use it, it's documented, what we need. Okay, so it's okay. Okay, more things. This script, if you pay attention to the script, we have changed some parameters because it was like hard-coded the variables that it was going to use. Okay? The deployment pipelines in Fabric, the source stage name, the target stage name. So it is like a static parameter. Instead of this, okay, we are going to parameterize this. We have changed the script and we have parameterized it. The deployment pipeline is the name of the deployment pipeline that we have created now in the Microsoft Fabric. Okay, this is the deployment pipeline. The development stage is the name, which is the source of the deployment of the pipeline. The test stage name, okay, this is the target stage for the deployment. And we can leave a note for the deployment explaining this deployment, okay, which is a deployment note that is optional. Okay, so we are ready. We have everything ready to begin. We are going to create a release pipeline from scratch. Okay, so it's here. You go to pipeline, you go to releases, and we are going to create a new pipeline. Okay, we're going to create a new release pipeline. We are beginning with an empty job. Okay, we don't need any template. The stage name will be, we can call it dev to test. Okay, this is the first stage. Perfect. Because I am working directly with a Git repository, I am going to add an artifact and I am going to select the Azure repos Git as the source type. Okay. We're going to select the project, the source repository, okay. The default branch we have defined, the development branch, and we are ready for the next step. In the variables, we are going to add here some variables group. We are going to link to a variable group called testing credentials. Here is where we add the service principal credential variable group. Okay. To create this service principal, okay, this is the official documentation of how to create this. Okay, it is not directly explained on how to create a service principal for Fabric deployments. We have chosen the embed Power BI content with service principal. So The 4 steps are the ones that we have followed to create this service principal. Okay? So you can follow this Microsoft documentation to create service principal and the application secrets. Okay, let's continue. Once we have the variables, we are going to the pipeline. We are going to create task. Okay. So for this task, we are going to choose the PowerShell. We are going to run a PowerShell script. Okay, the name for this Power BI PowerShell script will be deploy all PBI content from dev to test. The script path, this is where we have put our script. Okay. And here we are going to add the arguments that we are going to pass to this script, okay, to pass these parameters and to deploy from dev to test. Okay, this is why we have parameterized, okay? Because we need to add to be flexible. If we have more stages or we need to pass to production, we don't need to create a new script. Okay, we are going to reuse the script provided by Microsoft only by parameterizing these parameters. Okay, as you can see here, this is Azure, the part where we have modified. Okay, in Azure Data Studio, we have modified in Azure Code. Sorry, we have modified this script and we have deployed it to our repository. We have uploaded the modified. So we have added the content, the connect with this service principal, okay, to automate this service principal is needed. And then we have also parameterized the top of the script. We have also parameterized the deployment pipeline. Okay, so this is what we have synchronized with our source content. Okay, let's continue. Let's return to our pipeline. We are going to clone this. And the next one, we are going to call it the deploy. Okay, this is the test to production. Okay? This is the task where we are going to deploy our content to production. Okay, okay, and the task, instead of deploying content from dev to test, it will be test to production. Okay. We are going to change the arguments because now the target will be production and the source will be test. Okay? And we are leaving a note, deployment from test to production. Okay. We'll return to our pipeline and we are going to add here the approval. Okay. We are going to add the pre-deployment conditions, and here you can find these pre-deployment approvals. I am going to be the approver. Manuel Mas is going to be the approver. Okay, we are ready. So we have added this approval person. Okay, so I am going to run this. Okay, we are going to save this. Okay, we are going to create a release. Okay, and now our release is going to begin. Okay. What it is going to do, okay, now we are, it is manually triggered. Okay, so the first task that it is performing is this dev to test deployment. Okay? This is our development workspace, and this is our test environment, test workspace that is empty. So now our content is being deployed here. Okay, there's nothing here yet. Let's see the logs. Okay. It is executing our PowerShell. It depends on the agent job. It's queued now, so it is executing all this script that I have shown to you with the parameters that we have passed to the content. Okay. One interesting thing is that we can customize these scripts. Okay? They are PowerShell, so this means that we can adapt the deployments to our needs. Okay? If we need to add more things, we can reuse, and we can see here how the REST API methods, how we use them in this script, okay, to deploy the content. It's all the code is here. Okay, so we can change it and adapt to our needs. Let's wait till it finishes. Here we can see the overview. It is still running, and while it is finishing the run, okay, I expect to have an email, because in the next stage there will be a pre-deployment approval. Okay? So I will receive an email. Okay, perfect. It has succeeded. So I am going to have an email. Now I will receive an email with this pre-deployment approval. Okay, so I have received this email. This is the email, deployment to stage. Test to prod is waiting for approval. Okay. So if we return to Power BI, let me refresh. We should see the content deployed. Okay, so here it is. In the test, we can see that the content has been deployed. And if I access this, you see that this button has appeared, the approve. I am going to approve. Okay, it has been approved. Now it is being queued, and the content will be passed to production. Okay, it is executing the script, the PowerShell script. Okay, it is going to be pushed. It is executing all the steps to deploy the content to production. Okay, while it is being deployed, we are going to open the deployment pipeline that we have created before with the different stages. And we will see here the deployment history, okay, with all the deployments that we have done with this pipeline. Okay? Here you can see one deployment history. Okay, so whenever it finishes, as you can see, the development and the test has been synchronized. And now, while it finishes, okay, we will see that our test and production environment has been synced also automatically, okay, without our manual intervention. Okay, so it is finishing, it is deploying the content. So this is the main difference. Okay, it's instead of executing this deployment pipeline manually and doing the deploy by pressing this button, I could do this, but the release pipeline is doing that for us. And at the same time, before doing this deploy, okay, we need somebody that execute this automatically. Okay. Deploy. Perfect. It's finishing. Perfect. So we can see that the content, it's okay, items that have been deployed, they have been chosen by the service principal. Okay, let's go. So the content has been correctly. It is, let's see, the deployment history. And here you can see this production, okay, that this is the test and the production that we have performed now. Okay, so this has been the demo. Everything now is synchronized, and the content has been deployed to the different workspaces automatically with the release pipeline. Okay, so let's go to the wrap up and conclusions. These are the steps that we have performed today. Okay, we have connected to a Fabric workspace, the Fabric workspace to Azure DevOps. We have downloaded the PowerShell scripts and customized it to use the parameters. We have created the release pipelines in the third place. The fourth step, we have configured the dev to test deployment. And then we have also created the production state, the test to production. We have configured the deployment approval. And finally, we have run this Azure DevOps release to see with pipeline with our approval, okay, to see how this deployment phase is performed. So this is our PBI DevOps journey. Okay, first, in the projects, we usually begin in the early stages with a shared storage. Okay, this is the kind for the file versioning we can use SharePoint or okay. This is the very early stages to keep a kind of manual source control. Then we can use in the next phases. We should use the version control with PBI projects and Git versioning. Okay, this is the second stage. As we get more mature in this process, the next step, we would set up this deployment management. Okay, we have explained Fabric deployment pipelines to manage deployment workspace, targets and promotion from dev to other workspaces, environments. It is manual, and for small projects, it can be a good solution. But finally, the real CI/CD happens in what we have explained in the 3 episodes. Okay, in this series, we have integrated the Fabric capacity workspaces with Azure DevOps as a synchronized deployment target from a Git code repository. And today we have seen how Fabric deployment pipelines blends with Azure DevOps to automate the deployment process with script and API calls. Okay. The conclusion, okay, we have to align our DevOps with our data culture and internal processes. Okay. We have presented today a very basic use case. Okay. Of course, the use cases will be much complex. We have to think on how we produce these data products, okay, and how we deploy them, okay, in order to create this DevOps process. Before anything, we have to check the limitations before beginning the journey, because there are things that can be previewed, there can be limitations. For instance, the service principal by now, at the time of recording this series, is only for Power BI items, is not for other Fabric items. Okay. DevOps should be a must for complex or enterprise projects. Okay, so perhaps it can be a killer of agile processes because you have to set up plenty of things. You have to coordinate teams to use these kind of processes. Okay, but it's a must for complex projects. Okay, we recommend use version control in all projects. It doesn't matter how big or small is your process. Please use version control. Right size your solution, okay, because this is what I have explained in point number 3. DevOps might slow the pace of agile projects, so find the balance. And the latest point is that there is plenty of room for high flexibility to adapt the pipelines to any project built on Azure. Okay? So it doesn't mind how your deployment, your life cycle is, that Azure DevOps, we can customize it. We can add as many stages as you need and define the life cycle of the process to your needs. Okay, and that's all. Thank you very much. Thank you for attending. We hope that you have found useful the 3 episodes. You can contact us through our website, clearpix.com, and our social networks, LinkedIn and X. And thank you very much again, and see you in more episodes. Thank you. Bye.